So I remember as a little kid, I went to this place called Luray Caverns. It was beautiful, it was cool, they had stalagmites and stalactites. Probably got that wrong, I don't remember which one is which, but you know, it was crazy because, you know, I wanted to go back one day and I wanted to see it again. But no, I think I'm gonna take a break. I don't think I'm gonna go anytime soon. And that's because I just saw the movie As Above, So Below.
My name is Scarlett Marlowe, and I'm a student in urban archaeology.
370 feet beneath this point is a hidden chamber
That might contain a critical missing piece of our history.
How are we supposed to get down there?
The catacombs. There are 200 miles of tunnels right underneath our feet.
They're holding the remains of 6 million corpses.
Stop. This is the Empire of the Dead.
These are human bones. We go through here?
Let's do it.
Keep slow and steady, yeah?
I think I'm stuck.
Just breathe with me, please. It's okay.
What was that?
I have to start off by saying this. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna put it out there. I don't know if it's because I had too much to drink the night before. I don't know if it's because I had the hot dog combo when I went to see the movie. It's the cheapest thing on the menu and I will take it. It could be because I have slight claustrophobia. Slight. Maybe it was all of the above. But I'd have to say that there was 4¼ times I wanted to get up and go vomit in the bathroom. Sounds crazy, right? It's not. And do you want to know why? It's because that shaky cam, the frickin' found footage shaky cam, I cannot hold the camera still kind of shots throughout the whole movie. By the end of the movie, I felt like I had to pop a frickin' antacid. And I was fine going into the movie, like I wasn't sick or anything. It's just all that moving on a big screen. Woo! But I digress. So, what is the newest horror flick, As Above, So Below, about? Well, basically, it's about this crazy bitch. Excuse me. I mean this very ambitious, overly eager student named Scarlett, and she wants to find lost artifacts and wants to find documentation of things no one knows about in the catacombs of Paris, to find passageways and philosopher's stones that no one has found. Hey, she's really smart. Like, apparently she knows like 5 different languages. She's like a A+ student. You know, she's got that, but you know, you could still be crazy, and she kind of is. So she takes, you know, her crew. You got the tour guide, you got the black guy, you got the love interest, like the kind of cookie cutter stuff, and they go into the depths of the catacombs. And what could go wrong, right? I mean, like, I don't see what could go wrong. I mean, no problem. It should be fun, right? It's basically like Dora the Explorer, except instead of worrying about, you know, that rascal swiper no swiping, you kind of got the undead demons following you around in the dark depths of catacombs. Alright, so the question everyone wants to know, was it scary? Was it any good? Not really, but let's start with the positives of this movie. That was really corny. So the #1 positive in this movie was that it was really taking place in the catacombs of Paris. Like, the actors actually had cameras and they went down there and they filmed this thing. So it wasn't like a made-up set kind of thing. It was really authentic, and it actually made it pretty cool to go down there with them. And one of the most scariest things about this movie, even though it wasn't that scary, is that it is a claustrophobe's worst nightmare. Trust me, it was pretty hard to watch sometimes. But to its credit, that's actually a really good thing. It was supposed to make you feel really uncomfortable, and the fact that you had nowhere to run or nowhere to hide, and there was creepiness and the unknown lurking around every corner, it made it really unnerving, and it made it really uncomfortable, and it was kind of hard to watch sometimes. Also, this movie had like a really good sense of adventure. Even though it wasn't that scary, it was kind of an adventure at the same time, you know, discovering the unknown and finding passageways and getting lost, and you know, there was a real sense of doom and terror, which is actually pretty important in a scary movie, because without that, you ain't afraid of no ghosts. But to be serious, to have that real sense of panic or that there's a threat is very critical and important in a scary movie. That's what makes it scary. And I guess you could say it succeeded on that. The actors were cool, you know, like the actors, they did a decent job, you know, they weren't too annoying, even though there is the occasional irrational dumb decision that gets someone hurt, or like, you know, the very cookie cutter, you know, kind of characters in scary movies. It was kind of like that, but the acting wasn't so bad, and I didn't mind watching them too much. I didn't mind, you know, going around the catacombs with them, which is a plus, especially because you're stuck with them doing all this. So, you know, that wasn't so bad. But props to the black guy. I'm gonna put it out there. Props to him. The fact that he took a camera and went down in the catacombs with these crazy people filming, you know, in the dark, you know, in these really tight spaces, pretty much in the depths of hell with these demons and these ghosts and all this crazy shit. You know, he did a lot better than I could have done, or than I had expected him to do. You know, see, I would have no fucks to give. My ass would not be down there. Like, I would be out of there real quick. Like, real quick. Real fucking quick. Now, for the negatives. I have to say it. This is my #1 pet peeve in scary movies nowadays. The whole handheld found footage thing. It's done. It's so overdone. It's the most annoying thing in the world. I understand the Blair Witch Project did it. It was the first to do it. It was hugely successful on a very small budget. You know, people thought back in the day, the audience thought it was real found footage, which was why it was so scary. It seemed personal, it seemed real, people believed it, and that's what made it scary. Nowadays, we know it's not real. It's been done so many times. It's not scary anymore, it's not clever, it's not believable, it's annoying, and it's pointless. You can't see anything. Nowadays, most scary movies have to be like documentary style to make it believable and real, which makes it more scary, right? But is it? Not to me. Most of us know it's not real. And by the end of the movie, the characters aren't even really addressing the camera anymore. The camera's just filming what's going on. So it's pointless. It's not even like a documentary anymore. All you're left with is with a shaky, shaky, shaky cam. It kind of defeats the purpose, you know? And the shaky cam is incredibly distracting. Instead of just letting the actors act, or letting us see just a still wide shot of our environment about what's going on around us, we have the camera constantly moving all over the place, even when the characters aren't doing anything but just talking to one another. And when something does go down, or when something does scary happen, you can't even see it. You don't even know what's going on really. Just loud noises, and the camera blacks out and shakes or moves this way because the person's running away from it, like, which I would too, but we don't even know what's going on. So how is that scary? The camera literally becomes Michael J. Fox having a seizure. P.S. I love you, Michael J. Fox. It was just a reference. I hope you're doing well. Sorry. Sure, some say what's unseen is actually the most scary, and I agree with that in certain circumstances. But in this case, I just think the execution was done poorly. Like, it's a cop-out. Like, they either couldn't think of something scary enough, so they chose not to show it, or maybe their budget wasn't big enough, so they couldn't really afford to make something actually really scary, so they decide to turn the camera away every time the jump scare happens, and you're just left with loud noises. Even though the soundtrack and like the sounds were kind of creepy, at the end of the day, every time you knew something scary was gonna happen, you couldn't see anything. I truly think that this movie could have done even a little bit better if it was just done on a still camera, just having the camera just stay still and not be documentary style, just showing these characters go to the catacombs. And I get that it was supposed to be realistic because they had the cameras on their heads and it's like you're in there with them. And in some circumstances, I felt like I was really there, but for the most part, the shaky cam was so distracting. You know, it wouldn't stay still for a second. I think this movie would have been a lot easier on the eyes and the stomach if the camera just would have chilled out for a second and just stayed still. In my opinion, what could be really scary is when the camera lingers on something scary. It doesn't pull away. It just makes you look at it, makes you face it, and it makes you feel really uncomfortable, and it's like cringeworthy. that to me is scary. That's why you run. If you're forced to face something, it's like, you know, it makes it scary. And maybe just try something different than just turning the camera away at every moment. Overall, the movie wasn't really that scary, and if anything, it made me crave some Advil. But other than that, it did have some really creepy vibes, a really cool catacomb setting, some, you know, decent actors, and if it's one thing, it's definitely a roller coaster ride. So the verdict, I give it a solid C. Alright, so that was my review of As Above, So Below. Tell me what you think. Did you think it was scary? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let's talk about it. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. But most of all, thanks for watching. Like, dislike, whatever. Just show it some love. I plan on doing a lot more of these, and definitely more consistently. So, check out my videos. Thanks.